This is a traveled man. We'll see if he can travel his way into the grade 8. Chris the Force Forsberg leads. Chelsea Denofa gives chase. Coming into view of the judges. Getting out to that touch and go. Into the rear clipping zone. Makes the correction as Chris Forsberg. Chelsea Denofa passes Forsberg and wraps it around that final clip. It seemed that Forsberg just went a little too hard into that first rear clipping zone. Let's walk through it again, Ryan.
Well, we know this one's going to get talked about for sure. Chris Forsberg and Chelsea Denofa, phenomenal start here. Forsberg, great job. I mean, perfect, as is Denofa. But then Forsberg a little bit heavy there, makes contact, loses angle, and then Denofa is on the inside line there as Forsberg falls off. Denofa goes through. So if the judges are treating Chris Forsberg's run here as a 0, I'd imagine that is going to be fault to Forsberg as he kind of started the chain of events here. You can see Forsberg loses angle, makes contact with Denofa, and then Denofa has an opening there. Now you can't pass on an outer zone. You can only pass on an inside clip. So it's going to be interesting to see the interpretation here, but it was Forsberg's events that started the chain reaction here. He hits the wall, he loses angle, makes contact with Chelsea Denofa. So obviously this is going to be our first talked about one for sure.
This is definitely going to, I mean, the replays are happening, the judges are reviewing. The situation, the scenario is Chelsea Denofa is a wild driver. He's a great driver. He gets very aggressive, and he knows when to throw it down. He knows who he's going against. He focuses on it. He's been a fan of the sport, and he's an aggressive driver. He knows that Forsberg is one that he can trust to follow. There's not going to be any foul play or anything like that. But when Forsberg brings it to that outside, touch and go, into that first rear clipping zone, he went way too hard. You could see the wheel make contact. Watch his front wheels. You'll see him straighten out.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Forsberg makes a big mistake here. I'm just wondering, if Chelsea should have chosen to be a little bit more prudent and not take the pass, because Forsberg is still at speed. He makes contact. He's still at speed here. He slows down quite a bit. Would it have been better to stay behind? I don't know. It's going to depend on the outcome of what how the judges interpret this. But as far as passing is concerned, it's only legal on an inside clip where a lead driver goes wide and there's a door open.
Right.
Now, in this case, you have an outer zone where Chris Forsberg makes contact, loses angle, makes contact with Denofa, loses a little bit of speed, and Denofa, basically drifts right by him on the inside.
Yeah, this is. I mean, we've talked. Yesterday, or actually Thursday in the drivers' meeting, there was quite a bit of chatter and update as far as passing. So it's pretty interesting to see something to come into play like this, where we'll see how it unfolds, how it transpires. No, obviously advantage or fault given here as Chelsea Denofa will now lead. Chris Forsberg giving chase. Denofa gets to that touch and go. Counters back, ping pongs into that first rear clipping zone. Forsberg chasing him down. Into that final clip is Forsberg and nosing around, and Forsberg wraps it around. And unfortunately, it looks like Chris Forsberg just wraps it around too hard around that final clip.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to matter the interpretation on the first run now. Forsberg makes a pretty sizable mistake at the end. And look at Denofa, I mean, just absolutely ripping it up in the lead position. Incredible job here, nice job by Denofa. Forsberg staying with him, cuts through the cloud of smoke here, but then on the inside pushes real hard, makes contact with Denofa and spins out. So whatever the judges were thinking on run number 1, I have to assume it's not going to come into play here.
Yeah, I mean, that's over the years, that's why we've never said advantage this person or advantage that person. It's kind of digest both runs, but here's that first run again. You see Chris take a massive blow to that back right corner.
Yeah, it's hard to know what to think about this. Obviously, Chris starts the chain of reaction of events here, so you obviously have to give a large degree of fault for him. But then again, you're not allowed to pass on the inside. So really interesting. Haven't seen that one before, but don't think it's really going to matter at this point.
All right, going to the judges. Denofa, slide him left for Denofa, slide him right for Forsberg, and Chelsea Denofa gets the win.